Ladies and gentlemen, the much anticipated Apollo lights. So this is Apollo lights. We're gonna do like we usually do. We're gonna start from the back and walk our way up to the top. So at the back, we have the beautiful fork. We inspired ourselves from the Pro, meaning that we hide all the cables inside the fork, the motor cable, and this one doesn't have a drum brake at the back, so there's no cable for this, but at least the motor cable is completely invisible. That's quite cool, and we're still able to keep the quick, easy connector for the motor to make the maintenance and repair a lot easier. Then we have the fender. This one, same thing as the Pro again. You can see that we inspired ourselves for the bracket here. We follow the same angle as a footrest. The little thing I don't like about it is that it's not flush with the fork at the back. It should be completely flush and straight. It would just look better and refined. There was a technical reason why we had it to do like this. It was because of the motor shaft was in the way for the screw, but we were able to fix that for the future sample. Then we have the motor. We have a single 500 watt motor with 9-inch self-healing tires. So again, we really try to move towards self-healing tires for all our models. It's the first time we do a 9-inch. There's some challenge for that, like the self-healing gel inside need a month and a half to cure properly compared to 2 weeks for like the 12-inch tire that we have on the Pro. So little challenge, but nothing that can't be solved. We have the same way of fixing the fender in the front of the fork here, meaning that we get 100% water coverage. You know, like if you look on the city, we had a tendency to cut it too short to look better. But the water was getting in the hole of the footrest, so not ideal. So this one, like the Pro, it's being completely covered, and that's what we're going to do for all our models in the future because it just makes so much more sense, right? We have the same wheel nut cover here, the little rubber cap that's just looks so good, and it's protecting the nut against the water, the dust, and there's just a cool logo on it. So I love those one, and it's going to be the same one for all our models. And then the rear suspension. So this one, again, like the Pro, we try to do a rear rubber suspension. The little difference though is this one, there's spring embedded in the rubber. So there's more bounciness out of it, and it's also a lot easier to install during assembly because the Pro, we compress the rubber a lot to get that responsiveness out of it. So it's really good on the V1. I'm going to try to do something a bit stiffer on the V2, but so far really pleased with that. And for this format and price point, usually scooters don't even have a suspension. If you look at the 9-Bot Max or the NIU, whatever the name they have, KQ2 or any of those weird names, they don't have suspension, so really happy about it. And it's invisible, it works great, and it's just complementary to the tube tires, which also a lot of competitors have hard tires for this price point. Then we have the rear brake light, so pretty sleek. It's the white here plastic that you see. The finish of the plastic with the metal is the best I've seen so far on any prototype. You know that one part is plastic and the other one is metal because of the feeling when you touch it, but there's no gap. It's printed perfectly. So we are really getting, again, better and better with our prototypes, and it just looks so clean. This one doesn't have the turning signal at the back. That's something we're gonna try to add it to the V2, but that's super easy to do. It's going to be yellow here, and when you brake, it's all going to be red. So pretty straightforward. Then we have the grip, so you can grab it and lift it. This one is kind of lightweight. It could be a bit lighter for a single motor, but it's really nice to have that rear handle because instead of having to fold it and carry it or just don't even have that like we had on the V1 of the Pro. The thing you can notice here is a little mechanism hidden inside. So we finally ditched out the hook mechanism that we had on the Air and the City for something incorporated to the headset that is all flat. And when you're gonna lock it in place, it's gonna go directly in there and it's gonna lock, well, the direction, so the handlebar, so you can fold the scooter and the handlebar won't swivel from left to right, and it's gonna lock it in place so you can grab it by the stem. The little thing I don't like about it, well, there's two things. The first one, the button is really hard to press. I can imagine, I have strong thumbs and it's hard for me, so I can imagine for regular people. The other thing is also the mechanism is sticking out, and it's a little bit of an eyesore. I would like to extend the plastic around it and just have this embed inside. It would just be a hole in the actual deck, and you have that mechanism. It would be better for water and dust protection, because you can imagine if it gets in there, like the button's gonna become even harder to press, and also aesthetically it's just better. This means the handle is gonna become a little bit shorter and tighter, but you can still pass your fingers through it, so it should be totally fine. Then we have the grip tape. This is a beautiful grip tape. Again, it's handmade, so that's why our logo is already ripped off. But I love the design with the lines, and it just fits perfectly with the rest of the scooter that is very long and narrow. And it's the same thing for the handle grip. It's the same pattern of line, and when you look at it from the top, it just looks so damn good. I would like to extend it over the charging port and go all around the rear footrest. Maybe that's something I'm gonna try for the V3. For the V2, it's still gonna be this one. Under it, we have the kickstand. We went for the same style as the Pro and Explorer. It looked a little bit out of place on the light. It's quite beefy. If you look at the Explorer, the Pro, I was able to cut out the kickstand shape and really embed it in the frame, so it looked so clean when it was folded. This one the mechanism needed to be outside of the scooter, so that's why you have like that extension here. It looked fat. I don't really like it. But it's very stable, and just like the Explorer and Pro kickstand, when it's unfolded I can stand on the scooter, and it's just cool. I love doing that because you can really get a feel of the scooter, and I like things that are solid and not shaky, and that's exactly what this is. For the next sample, we're going to be making the frame a lot thinner, and I think I'm going to ditch that kickstand completely. Again, the goal for that scooter is to be the best value for money compared to any scooter on the market. So I need to make some decision, like having a regular kickstand instead of this fancy one. And we want to reduce weight as well. And this is quite heavy. It's all a metal box here. At the front here, we have a little grill. That's a speaker that we have inside the neck. This V1 has the Mach 1 controller in it. This is way overkill for that little scooter. It's just because the Mach 1 controller is the only one that can do the speaker, the wireless charging, the COB light everywhere. But it's so expensive. The same controller compared to a regular controller, for performance wise, if you cut the COB, the speaker, and the wireless charging, you save a lot of money. And for you customers, you're gonna save maybe like $200 if we cut those small things. So we're gonna cut the Mach 1 from this one. Let us know in the comment if you want us to keep those fancy features like the speaker, the COB, and the wireless charger, or if you don't really care and you would rather have a cheaper price. We can always change it, but I'm just gonna cut this one and try to reduce the price. Then we have the charging port. It's the same as the City. This is a 48 volt 10Ah battery. So the charging port is 3 amp. This one, the charger that comes with it that fit in that charging port is 48 volt 3 amp. So we can charge it in under like 3.5-4 hours. Charging port is great. I'm gonna try to make it a bit more integrated, but that's a classic charging port we have on our scooter, and I don't really have anything else to say about it. Then we go in the front. We don't have a motor in the front. It's just a wheel with a drum brake inside. We have the 9-inch self-healing tire again. The brakes, well, it works really well because it's a straight line, right? It goes from here to down. So the brake handle is really easy to press. We like that. And we have the fender covering the back of the tire and the front. That's a classic shape for front fenders without a motor, and that's really going to offer good coverage against water. And you can see that the fork is machined to have those caps directly here. Usually you have caps that twist in here, but the fact that we're able to really make this one piece and have just a plastic cap going inside, well, that's going to remove moving parts, rattles, and it just looks so good. So we love that. If we go up, we have our folding mechanism. This is the same as the Pro, the same as the new Explorer. So I'm glad that we're able to put such an expensive folding mechanism that we use on the Pro on the Lite. Pretty straightforward, works really well. So you're gonna fold it like this, unfold it. Oof. Pretty snappy. The bearings inside is one thing you don't see but is so good on this one. It's the same type as bearing as we have on the Pro. So on the Air and City, they are kind of very basic ball bearings. This one is a needle bearing with a cone shape. So this is what they use in car, in the hub of the car as well. So that's the best bearing you can wish for. It's NSK, the Japanese bearing. So really glad we had this. And the direction tube inside of this, holding all of this together, is also so beefy. This scooter feels very strong, and for such a low-cost scooter to have all those great features is it's nice. That's what we wanted to do for our whole lineup, so I'm glad that we're finally getting there. If you go up the stem, we have the COB light in the front, extremely bright. Gonna power it on. This is too bright. Even during daytime, it's hurting the eyes. And again, it's so bright because we put COB lights because of the Mach 1 controller. It looks cool, but is it necessary? Would you pay $200 more to have this compared on what we have on the V2 that we're going to show you in another episode? Personally, I wouldn't. You barely can see the difference. And on the other side of the stem, we have a grip in the middle of the stem. I wanted to put a rubber reference point here to indicate point of balance of the scooter, so you know where to grab it and it's always balanced, because usually you fold the scooter, you grab it, and there's always that awkward moment of like you grab it too much in the front and it's like leaning back, or too much at the back, it's in front. So by like you grab it, you say, okay, the rubber is there, and boom, you're like perfectly balanced and you're just ready to go. It's nice in theory, but the result looks very cheap, and this means that I have to basically extrude the stem from the mold, and I need to do another stem inside the stem to be able to screw this in place. So I'm just gonna ditch it. But yeah, that was a cool concept, but didn't came out quite as good as I would have wished for. Then if we go up, you have the headset. This is our new headset that you're gonna be finding also on the Explore. It's much smaller, and this headset hopefully is going to allow us to offer a smaller form format without having the folding handlebars. One thing I really don't like is folding handlebars. They always come loose, and we didn't have a good experience with them in the past. So by having something a bit shorter like this, hopefully it can still be very compact for you when you put it in your apartment, but still offer the great stability and also solidity that you want from the scooter when you ride. So on the new handle, you have turning signal on both ends. You have our new grip handle that you can see on the Air, the Light, and the City, and the Pro. On all our models, it's going to be those one. The difference with those is that it fits so well with the grip, so that's pretty cool. And we developed new covers to integrate the headset to the throttle, to the grip handle. You can see that they flow all together beautifully. You have the new display of the Pro, so that's pretty cool. The dot display. Again, you can see it from any angle under the sun, and that's just so good, and it's something that I love about this display. I know a lot of people say it's a very simple display, but that's what I like. I like something simple that's going to tell you your speed, your gear, your aero code, and if you want anything else, well, you can just clip your phone there and read all of this onto the app, and a lot more than what a regular display could offer you. Then we have the wireless charger. This one is a quad lock wireless charger. Again, I can't do this because I have the Mach 1. This is going to be removed in the future. It's going to be a regular quad lock attachment that do just the same thing, just it's not wireless charging. And don't ask me in the comment to add at least like a output for the to charge your phone, like a USB-C or whatever. I can't. I don't have enough power to go up there with everything else I'm putting on the scooter. So unfortunately, if you want to charge your phone while riding the scooter, you're gonna need to have like a portable battery or something like this. I cannot add an exterior charging port. I cannot add a wireless charger. It's gonna be really just the quad lock attachment. And what else do we have on the handlebar? We have the headlight. This one is kind of bright. I think we can do a better job, but finally this one has all the proper certification to sell this headlight all around the world. So that's pretty much it for the light. About how it is right now. Now we're going to talk about what we can improve and what you can expect on the V2. So this prototype was made when I was in China with Maciek, our CEO. It was ready when we got there. You know, they were all assembling it and they're making sure it was ready for when we arrived. We got there, we tested it. We were amazed by just the build quality and how it rides. It's like nothing else on this category. It's way better than Niu Segway. I tried all the scooter on the market. This is something else. We also tried other scooter, and there's a couple things we liked about other scooters that we said, okay, we're gonna try to fit into this one. Starting from the back, fender bracket, no, they're flush, so aesthetically it looks a lot better, and there's no weld here on the bracket, so it just looks better. We're gonna be adding a rear drum brake instead of a front one, because this one is so strong that you could flip over an handlebar, and I don't want that. So we're gonna be putting a rear one. So the fork is gonna be a bit larger because you have now a drum brake casing in the motor. So of course you need a bit more space. The rear suspension, like I mentioned before, is gonna be stiffer. Maybe I'm gonna go back to this one. Maybe I'm gonna keep the stiffer one. I don't know. I need to try them. The rear latch folding mechanism here is gonna be hidden in the plastic, like I mentioned. The grip tape is gonna go all around it for the third prototype, not the second one. The kickstand is gonna be integrated like the Apollo Mini on the side. We remove the scooter grill completely. We extend the grip tape at the top here, so it's gonna just look a lot more integrated. The whole frame is gonna be 30% slimmer as well. We want to reduce weight, but also aesthetically. This one was built for 48 volt, 10 AH, or maybe even 15 AH. That's not what we are aiming for anymore. We're going to be switching it for 36 volt, 15 AH. So that allows us to reduce the price, the weight, to make it look better aesthetically. But also by going 15 AH, 36 volt, I'm able to have more discharge to have a second motor. So that's the biggest thing we're going to do. That's going to become a dual motor lightweight scooter instead of a single motor, just because it's so cool. With the dual motor, you can achieve so much more, go uphill, and the price should be the exact same if we cut, let's say, the Mach 1 controller and all the fancy things, you know. So basically, I'm able to do for the same price, you're going to have a dual motor with a lot more watt hour. You're going to have 560 watt hour instead of 480. So you have an increase of 15-20% more range. But again, it's the 15 AH 21700 that's going to allow me to have the discharge to have the second motor and really push you up those hills. So that's going to be really cool. And again, because I'm going to have a motor in the front, I still just want to keep one brakes because we have the regen, right? So the brake's going to switch at the back. At the front, it's going to become a motor. So we're going to be removing that front drum brake here. It's still going to be 9-inch shell feeling tires with the best motor you can imagine on the market, like we have on the Pro. The other cool thing, we're going to tilt the stem a little bit back to have a right angle of 16 degrees like we have on the Pro. The geometry is so much better when you ride. You won't get speed wobble. You know, if you ride and you start shaking your handlebar, you can feel that it's going to start doing this. By having a right angle more aggressive, it's removing those points of wobbles from the geometry. So we decided, even if this one's going to go a lot slower than the Pro, why not do it and just offer the best stability possible? So you're going to see the stem going whoop, a little bit more at the back, so it's going to be aligned more towards here rather than here. I already have the V2, I already rode it, it's perfect. So before you say, oh, you're going to lose space on the deck, no, you won't, and it just feels so much better. The folding mechanism is going to stay the same, it's perfect. I'm just going to make it maybe a bit smoother to fold unfold. The button here is going to become a lot smoother as well. Now, like I said, it's too hard to press. We want this to be able to open it like with your pinky. Like I said, we're going to cut the rubber on the stem, the grip. The front LED is going to pass from COB to LED. It's just as bright, but we're able to lower the cost. The amount of screws fixing the headset to the stem, now we only have 4. I'm going to put 6. There's going to be 2 on each side and 2 at the back to really cover all the different pressure points that you could put. You know, you accelerate, it's pulling back on the headset, or even when you ride and you put so much pressure on both handles, then it's becoming loose like this. In scooter in general. So this one, I'm just gonna go over the top, put 6 screws, and it's gonna remain tight. The latch here, we're gonna make it a bit harder to open, and now it's a bit easy. There's a magnet, it's a bit too weak, so stronger magnet. The headset, I'm gonna try to reduce the width of it. I want to remove anywhere between 3 to 5 centimeters to make it even more compact and more pleasing aesthetically. Now it's a bit too long, and there's a couple of things I don't like about it, so I'm gonna try to reduce the width with the V2, and with the V3 I'm gonna try to reduce the weight visually. The headlight, I'm gonna try to put a brighter one, and lastly the brake handle, something I didn't mention, but this one is the same as the City, the Air, and the Pro. You have the little bell built in, so super nice, and it's super loud. It's removing the need for an additional bell or even a horn in this case. This is the light V1. There's going to be a V2, there's going to be a V3, and after that, as you can see, we're getting so good with making prototypes, we should be able to just open the mold and proceed with it and get it into your hand as soon as possible. The light's going to be the same thing as the Pro, as the Explorer. There's going to be a beta group for it. And the last thing that we're not sure about is the actual name of the light. You know, we showed you the Apollo Mini before. This one, we said it's Apollo Light because we had Apollo Light, and now we're upgrading it. It was the same thing for the Explorer, but now we're thinking maybe we want a different name for it. The team suggested the Apollo Alpha, the Apollo Eon, the Apollo Spectre, the Apollo Stealth. To be honest, I don't like any of them, but I don't know. I'm sure you have a better idea than we do. You come in with an external point of view on this. What does this scooter makes you think of? I don't know. You tell me. That's it for the V1. I hope you are as excited as we are. Again, let us know in the comment if there's anything you think I missed with this, or any spec we should add, or if you would prefer to have the Mach 1 and pay an extra to have like the IoT, the COB, the wireless charger, and the speaker. I don't know. Let us know in the comment, and I'm gonna see you back for the V2.